Most of my Sandbox OSR game sessions take place on land. It could be grassy fields, arid deserts, or dangerous and frostbitten tundras. And you, as the game master, may have carefully crafted this hex crawl to be full of unique scenarios, factions, and encounters. Even throw out quests/hooks for your players. Maybe it is to this abandoned fort out on sea, or this awesome city in another country. And then get this question in the middle of your session. GM, can we get a ship? We want to travel there by sea. And well, you being the GM think, "Aw crap, I got nothing for a sea hex crawl or sea adventure." But that's where you can turn to me, and more specifically, Atelier Clandestine. Because today I'll be talking about Atelier Clandestine's latest project, When Sea is Calling, a guide for nautical adventures. Atelier sent me a copy of the PDF to check out, and after using this tool in my own OSR games like Songbirds and DCC, I'm impressed because it lives up to exactly what I was looking for from their previous bestseller, Sandbox Generator. And note, while Atelier did send me this copy, I'm not paid by Atelier. So I'll be giving my highs and lows while I was using it, so this will be an overall retrospective of the material. I'll be talking about what this seafaring hex crawl generator has to offer, how it expands on Sandbox Generator, and how, if at all, this can be used in your games. So grab your eye patches and set sail for the beautiful high blue seas, mateys, because we are checking out When Sea is Calling, a guide for nautical adventures. The TLD of this tool is that it is a system-neutral OSR guide for nautical and seafaring adventures in your Dungeons & Dragons and other OSR games. This is not a tool to generate a sea map, but rather to be used with something you made from an existing campaign. For example, you could be playing Pirate Borg's campaign setting, the Dark Caribbean, or Bottled Sea by Games Omnivorous, and apply all the randomized tables to flesh the campaign. This is thus first and foremost a tool for fleshing out your seafaring world or for generating encounters and events for a solo RPG. And the price on this tool ranges from $8 for the PDF to $28 for the physical copy on DriveThruRPG. Of course, the price might be different, but that's generally what I found when checking DriveThruRPG. So if this sounds up your alley, go check it down below in the description box. But for those looking to dig a little deeper, let's check out some more concrete tools and tables that you might find in the book, as well as apply some examples. Atelier Clandestine's Sea Nautical book is 45 pages of jam-packed goodness. The most important tables in this book are obviously going to be on ship generation. It gives you everything you need to generate a ship using a combination of D6s, D8s, D12s, and D20s. You can generate a ship using these tables to, say, create the faction, type of ship, its state/condition for the ship, its special equipment on hold, what it specifically has on hold that isn't weaponry, and much more. You could have these powerful merchant ships that are heavily reinforced and armed to the teeth with, say, cannonballs. You could have a whaler ship that was heavily damaged in a recent battle by a dangerous whale. You could have a sort of schlocky, gross-looking pirate ship that has an awesome crew, but may or may not have had an event with, say, a rivaling faction. So there's lots of options for all sorts of play, and lots of ways you can start a story for all sorts of characters. Better yet, there are even options to design your flag, which is very similar to the option developing a coat of arms in Sandbox Generator. And by the way, Atelier, I'm seeing a pattern with the love for flags and coat of arms. Is that on purpose or by accident? I'm going to assume it's on purpose. Nevertheless, once you're done generating your ship, you need to generate its crew, its figurehead, and most certainly, a ship's attributes. So I think the biggest selling point is the book's system-neutral ship attributes, which allow for naval and crew-specific combat options, amongst all the awesome actions while traversing the sea. Let's roll up a ship to get an understanding of the ship generator and attribute tables. So here we have a ship type. For this one, I chose a galleon / rolled a d20. The faction type was for pirates. I rolled a d6 and we got a 4. But this affects the relationship with other factions. The state of the ship is reinforced. This will affect our hull attribute. Next, I rolled for equipment and got 1, which would be the chained cannonballs. Type of equipment will affect ship's attributes as well as what kind of damage it does. Just don't worry about that. We'll come to that later. Finally is what's in the hold, and that is a stowaway. Ship attributes provide a quick way of resolving ship-related conflicts like naval combat, crew combat, avoiding reefs, racing ships, and repairing / upgrading your vehicle. It also gives you basic stats for a ship. So if you love rolling characters or generating randomized characters, then you're gonna like this. Similar to character creation in other old school essential and old school games, you roll a 3d6 down the line with bonuses or minuses being applied to certain stats. In this case, we rolled a 16 for cannons, a 10 for maneuverability, a 10 as well for hull, a 9 for speed, a 12 for tonnage, and a 9 for crew. This is affected by what we generated in our ship. For example, galleon, our equipment, our faction type, and the state of our ship all influence either systematically or narratively what our ship has in terms of attributes. For example, in naval combat and crew combat, the person that rolls higher wins. For instance, maybe you are using this pirate ship and you encounter a navy ship. These two factions don't really get along, so they start combat. The pirate crew, via naval combat, roll a 13 modified by their cannons, which is a 15, while they're trying to attempt to shoot the navy ship. The defending ship rolls an 18. This results in a failure, and in case it succeeds, the player would roll a 1d6 to determine how much damage is done to the hull. But if we're using our chained cannonballs, we would instead affect the ship's speed. And this logic applies throughout all ship interactions. From navigating reefs to crew combat, damage taken to the ship affects their stats. This puts pressure on our seafaring adventurers to make strategic decisions. Do they risk a confrontation of a strong ship? Do they risk hull damage or speed damage for more loot? Because that could lead to a downward spiral where the player characters are left stranded in the middle of the sea. How does this include cost to repair the vehicle? This risk versus reward in terms of resource management and how it loops into the central characteristic of the ship is simple yet highly engaging. Finally, let's use the ship name generator for the seafaring vehicle. I rolled a d12 and a d30, giving me the name, the Rusty Sun. So we have a pretty strong ship, and that's only one ship we can create. And that's not even talking about all the other generation tools for ships. There are tables and resources for, say, creating a pirate, with tables for their appearance, items, why they chose piracy, and the legendary stories that follow them. There's a table on a collection of stuff you could find at beaches. There's a table on whale encounters, which is really freaking awesome. There's tables on coastal town generators, as I mentioned earlier. And there's even a list of nautical bad guys like fish tacos, which I gotta be honest, is really freaking cool. I've never seen anyone create an NPC named fish tacos, and the art is just really freaking cute. Seriously, great job on that one, Atelier Clandestine. And that is only some of what's going on. This is honestly a solid resource on its own if you do not have the Sandbox generator. But what do you think? Would you use this resource for, say, your hex crawl? Let me know down below in the comment section, and feel free to drop this video a like and subscribe if you are enjoying my content. But I haven't talked about Sandbox generator or their connection. Back in my previous video on the Sandbox generator, I mentioned there was not much content for adventuring at sea. But unfortunately, as you can guess, this toolkit gives you what you need to run Nautical Adventures. So to continue the story from the previous generator, let's throw our fellow adventurers back into the country of Voltion. In the Sandbox generator, we generated a castle in Voltion called Castle Goldmore. The castle was recovering from a recent assassination of a member in the royal house. So the minister calls the adventurers asking to investigate. Apparently, someone has a rumor that the assassin, named El Diablo by some, and their crew lie in an island off the coastal town of Fulton. Our crew heads to Fulton, and the rogue all of a sudden states that they have a ship named the Rusty Sun in the backwater area of town. No one in the party knew this information or that the rogue could pilot a ship to begin with, and some others like the magic user and fighter assume they just stole it. Nevertheless, the crew managed to get to the ship and head towards the island. While traveling next day, they are accosted by the Navy. They are told to stop and hand over the stolen gold that they have stowed away in the pirate ship. At this awful moment, The fighter, magic user, and cleric turn to the rogue, and the rogue smirkishly reveals they may have been a pirate before becoming an adventurer. Thus, we ensue into naval combat, and from there, rinse and repeat using the tables in Nautical Adventures and Sandbox Generator. That means using Sandbox Generator to generate the basics of the sea hexes, and Nautical Adventures for more in-depth encounters, treasures, and epic moments. When I first picked up Sandbox Generator all those months ago, I was a little disappointed because of the lack of nautical stuff, but this tool is the solution to that. Plus, in comparison to Sandbox Generator, it is clear that Atelier Clandestine put a considerable amount of work into this. In terms of a reading experience, it is a far more enjoyable time, with colorful pages and a lot of quirky art that, while it did exist in Sandbox Generator, there's a sense of character and development, and it's really awesome to see how much an artist and a creator has developed over time, even in a short amount of, well, time. Thus, would I recommend this tool for creating and or running nautical adventures? Abso-damn-lutely. It is easy to read, relatively cheap, and can get you plenty of uses for any OSR game you are running. Now, is it perfect for everyone? No. I think it would have been cool to have a section to generate magic items that were specific to nautical adventurers. Also, the human-focused world building can be lame if you run games that are not human-centric, and was also a quote-unquote problem in Sandbox Generator, but I'm sure Atelier did that for their own personal reasons. So it might just be up to the GM to decide that when they're crafting their world or world building. Plus, more expansion on, say, underwater exploration or generating tables for specific factions like the Navy, merchants, and privateers could be really cool. Also, as an added bonus of something that I've always wanted to see for hex crawls are skyfaring adventures, which would be really freaking cool. I know it's not mentioned in the book or any of the other tools, but an ability to create skyfaring adventures would be dope as hell. And if anyone has any recommended resources on that, let me know down below in the comment section, alright? Regardless, this tool is wonderful. If you love the sea breeze on your skin and taking out scummy Navy soldiers or battling pirates, then this is for you. So, go find an island to build a house. Enjoy your gold and a bottle of rum in the shade of palm trees. But be prepared, the sea is waiting. So what the hell are you waiting for? Check out Atelier Clandestine's newest book down below in the description box and support their work and mine via the affiliate link. Speaking of support, if you do want to check out another awesome review of some of Clandestine's work, check out my video on the Sandbox Generator that will help you bump up your OSR gaming. And special shout out to my Patreon supporters, Harrison Parker and Paul Volpe, for your continued contributions. You too can support my Patreon and Coffee down below in the description box. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. And as always, I'm your average everyday queer host, Blurry Disposition. Hope you all have an awesome day. Ciao!